A ruthless CEO fires his loyal, pregnant employee, thinking he's won. But when her husband, quietly a major investor, takes control of the company, the tables turn. Now, the very man who dismissed her faces a stunning downfall. In a battle of power, integrity, and revenge, who will come out on top? The sun streamed through the glass walls of the boardroom, casting long shadows over the polished conference table. Mark Sullivan, the CEO of Anexa Solutions, adjusted his tie, his steely eyes coldly surveying the faces around him. The scent of fresh coffee lingered in the air, but it did nothing to mask the tension in the room. He was a man built for success, every decision calculated, every move ruthless. To him, people were just tools to achieve his goals. Across from him sat Sarah Matthews, the heart of the company. She was a woman whose brilliance could have lit the entire city. She had been with Anexa for nearly a decade, sacrificing weekends, personal time, and sleep to help the company thrive. Yet, here she was, in front of the very man she helped build his empire. And today, she was about to reveal a piece of news that would change everything. Mark, Sarah hesitated, a nervous flutter in her stomach. But before she could continue, her voice broke into a smile. I'm pregnant. For a moment, there was silence. Then, the room erupted in applause. Her colleagues, genuinely happy for her, clapped and cheered. But Mark, seated at the head of the table, remained motionless. His smile was as tight as the collar around his neck, and his eyes betrayed nothing. Deep inside, his thoughts swirled, calculations, risks, liabilities. Congratulations, Sarah, Mark said, his voice flat, but as he spoke, the room could almost feel the shift in the air. It was subtle, unnoticed by most, but Sarah could sense it. The congratulatory applause died down, and she noticed it. Mark's eyes never left her. It was the look of a man who saw a threat where others saw a miracle. Days passed, but Sarah could feel the change in the air. The polite congratulations in passing seemed hollow. And then, during an executive meeting, it came. Mark's true feelings, unfiltered. This is a business, not a daycare, Mark said sharply, turning to the rest of the executives. Sarah's productivity is bound to drop. We can't afford this kind of liability right now. We need to cut costs. The room went silent. It was a calculated move, a cold decision. Sarah had been loyal. She had given her heart to this company. But loyalty was meaningless to Mark when it didn't serve his bottom line. Days later, Sarah was summoned to Mark's office. She walked in, her heart pounding in her chest, the door closing behind her with a finality that echoed in the hollow of her soul. Sarah, Mark's voice was devoid of warmth. I want to start by saying how much we value your contributions. But due to restructuring, we're eliminating some positions. Unfortunately, yours is one of them. The words hit Sarah like a punch to the gut. The room spun, but she stood tall. She had always prided herself on her resilience. But I've been with Anexa for 10 years. It's not about performance, Sarah, Mark interrupted, his eyes cold. It's about the bigger picture. The market's changing. We have to make tough decisions. Tears welled up in Sarah's eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She packed her desk, her hands shaking with anger and disbelief. She had never felt more betrayed. That evening, Sarah came home to Daniel, her husband, a man of quiet power and unshakable determination. She told him everything. He listened, his jaw tightening with every word, but his eyes never left her face. We'll get through this, he said, his voice calm but filled with a quiet fury. He pulled her into his arms, the weight of the injustice pressing down on both of them. Let's focus on what we can control. This won't end here. Months passed. Sarah's world shifted. The emptiness of the betrayal lingered, but she focused on her pregnancy, on the life growing inside her. Meanwhile, Daniel, ever the silent observer, had been quietly making moves. The headlines broke one autumn morning, Anexa Solutions acquired by a mysterious investment group. Mark Sullivan watched the news with a sinking feeling. He had never been one to entertain threats, but something about the announcement sent a chill down his spine. Then came the shock of his life. A press conference was underway. Mark sat at the back, his suit feeling suddenly too tight. The spokesperson for the new owners stepped up to the podium, smiling broadly. "We are proud to announce the beginning of a new chapter for Anexa Solutions." The camera panned across the room, and Mark froze. Standing at the podium, exuding calm confidence, was Daniel Matthews. His eyes locked onto Mark's, and for the first time, Mark felt a sense of helplessness. "Leadership," Daniel began, his voice steady, "is not just about profits. It's about empathy, integrity, and valuing the people who make those profits possible." Mark's face drained of color. He could feel the weight of Daniel's words, a direct hit to everything he had stood for. But Daniel wasn't finished. "I've been watching this company for years. I've been learning. And now it's time to lead, not with fear, but with respect." The room was silent. Mark's once unshakable confidence had cracked. The employees, the very ones Mark had once held in contempt, were now looking to Daniel with admiration. And Mark knew, with a sickening certainty, that his reign was over. Weeks later, Mark was out of the picture. He left the company quietly, a sharp contrast to the presence he once commanded. Sarah, once the woman discarded like an expendable asset, was reinstated as senior project director. Her colleagues cheered her return. Under Daniel's leadership, Anexa transformed. A company that had once been a symbol of ruthless ambition now became a beacon of fairness, empathy, and transparency. Sarah, with her heart full, led critical projects that bridged the gap between profits and people. As the months passed, Sarah sat in her home, cradling their newborn daughter. The weight of the world had been lifted. Daniel joined her, resting his hand gently on her shoulder. "This," he whispered, "is what matters, what we've built, what we've overcome. This is a story of justice, a tale of resilience and redemption. Because when you stand up for what's right, even when the odds are stacked against you, change is possible." And if this story inspired you, don't forget to like this video, comment your thoughts below, and hit subscribe to join our channel for more powerful tales like this. Your support helps us create more content you'll love, so don't miss out.